Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. This video is for anyone who's in a full-time career and has started a side hustle, a business that you're running in the evenings and weekends. My goal today is to show you how to grow that side hustle to a comfortable full-time income of at least $10,000 a month. I'm breaking down the exact blueprint that I've used myself and taught hundreds of Muslim professionals to help them build freedom, flexibility, and financial independence through business whilst maintaining a full-time job. For those who don't know me, I was fortunate enough to go from a corporate life at Deloitte and Barclays to building a group of companies doing more than £10 million a year. Alhamdulillah. What I love most is helping other entrepreneurs unlock business success without sacrificing family, faith, or health. So in this video, I'm going to share a recording of a masterclass that I did recently where I covered 3 game-changing strategies. Number 1, the $10,000 a month opportunity audit to identify if your side hustle actually has the potential to grow and to hit that number. Number 2, the secret to doing more with less. And I show you the 12 different types of leverage. Number 3, how to drastically cut down your time input so you can scale without sacrificing every evening and every weekend. This is a full 1-hour training. So grab a notebook, get rid of all distractions, and watch until the end so you don't miss any big breakthroughs that could take your side hustle to the next level. With all that said, I hope you can benefit immensely from this video. Bismillah, let's get started. The goal today is to show you and help you figure out a roadmap on how to grow your side hustle to 10,000 pounds, dollars, whatever you're comfortable with, 10,000 a month, because that's a figure that I usually recommend that until your business isn't doing at least $10,000 or 10,000 pounds a month, you shouldn't quit your job. So that's why I've got this number here. So what you're going to learn today, inshallah, is firstly, auditing, is your current side hustle got the potential to grow to that level? Has it got the potential to become a full-time, fully fledged business? Or is it just a bit of a hobby? And I'm going to be quite frank. I'm going to be quite harsh maybe, but because I don't want you wasting your time on anything that is not going to get you to your goals. So we are going to be very, very straightforward. The second thing I'm going to go over is the secret to doing more with less. That is the one thing that all entrepreneurs who are successful have mastered. And I'll tell you what that is in due course. We're also going to drastically reduce your time input in your current business right now. Brilliant. Okay, so the goal is to show you a clear journey to scaling your side hustle to 10,000 a month. Bi'idhnillah. Is this a goal worthy of investing the next, let's say, 1 hour with me here today, inshallah? And I'm going to try my absolute best to make sure that we deliver this, but all achievement and all success is from Allah. So I ask Allah for tawfiq to deliver this goal for your benefit, inshallah. I just want to give you a little bit of a background to myself. I went down the traditional route as a child of an immigrant family, working class family. We study a lot. We aim to get a good education so we can get a good career. And alhamdulillah, I tried my best. And by Allah's grace, I was able to get a degree from the London School of Economics. I was able to work at Deloitte, Bloomberg, UBS, Barclays. And I completely understand what it means to have a full-time job and to try and build a business on the side. Because that's exactly how I started. I built my first side hustle, proper one, from this building here in Canary Wharf in London. I was working at Barclays, and the evening, once I finished my 9 to 6, at 6 o'clock, I would take my laptop, I would take the lift, and I will go to the top floor in this building, which has an incredible view. And I would sit there for 2 to 3 hours working on my website, working on my funnels, working on my marketing for my first side hustle, which basically was helping students succeed at every stage of the process for internships, graduate roles, and experience hires. So my first business, this is 9 years ago. Look at that. This is 9 years ago. These are some YouTube videos that I built to generate leads, that I created to generate leads 9 years ago. I built this business on the side of my full-time role at Barclays. So I know what it takes. For 11 weeks, I would be in the office until 9 p.m., Monday to Friday, building my business. And Alhamdulillah, this business didn't end up being a massive success, but it ended up being a stepping stone for me to move on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And I learned everything about digital marketing, funnels, ebooks, upsells, all the whole shebang. It was an incredible learning experience. I didn't make much money out of it, and it eventually became free resources for everybody as a Sadaqah Jariyah in the long run. Now, after that, I spent 3 years, 3.5 years working in all sorts of businesses, side hustles, organizations, and I was just trying to learn as much as I could and trying to figure out what shall I do. I had left my corporate career by this time. I was surviving on peanuts. This is me in 2016 or 17 in a small office with my mentor and teacher, Nabil Al-Azami, rahimullah. He passed away of cancer about 4 years ago, but I was helping him build a prophetic leadership training company. And here's me working on a startup idea. I done a lot of stuff, and I was always working 7 days a week, trying to figure out how to make my businesses successful. Okay. Now, I eventually, alhamdulillah, managed to land on the business that took off, and alhamdulillah, gave me a strong foundation. So here is something my team put together that alhamdulillah, I have been in more than 15 different business sectors. I have mentored many Muslims in business. My online coaching business did 4 million in 4 years. My property business right now, property management business, does about 10 to 11 million pounds, not dollars, pounds a year, alhamdulillah. And I've just hit, I'm actually at 1.5 million. And I did all of this while working 3.5 days a week, alhamdulillah. So I can share with you what it takes to build a successful business by actually working less than the normal person. So the other thing I wanted to share with you is the fact that I am not someone new on the scene when it comes to helping Muslims. This is an article on Yahoo Finance 2021 where they featured my work in financial education to the global Muslim community. I've been featured on many podcasts because alhamdulillah, I have been trying to help my community and train, coach, share, mentor for best part of 1.5 decades, alhamdulillah. And my work was also picked up by some important people in the UK. Do you guys recognize this gentleman? So who is this session today for? I don't want you to waste an hour of your time listening to me unless you have a business right now, a side business, a full-time business, whatever. You will only benefit from today's session if you actually have something already running. So can you confirm with me that you have something that's already running? It doesn't have to be generating a huge amount of money, for as long as you have something that is running, alhamdulillah. Barakallah fikum. Amazing. So if your answer is yes, then this is for you. Now, one thing I wanted to share today is what I call the advantage method, which I have codified everything that I've learned that has helped me over the last 10 years to build a group of companies doing 8 figures by the grace of Allah. I put everything in a program, in a let's call it a system, and I call that the advantage method. And it starts off with the thinking, how to think like the top 1%, the mindsets that you must have. It then moves on to handling constraints and bottlenecks, because that's one of the main things that stops people from growing and scaling. We then have to optimize the most precious asset that we have, which is time. And time always goes hand in hand with energy. And then you want to move over to mastering sales and marketing. And last but not least, I teach something called barakah strategies. How do you actually bring divine blessings for growth in your business? That is something that, alhamdulillah, I have a 10 different strategies that I teach, and it's available for free. Anybody who's interested, you can let me know, inshallah. Now, I will not be going through all of this because this is probably going to take at least 25 hours to go through all of this. Today, I only have probably another 50 minutes. So I'm going to touch upon the most relevant stuff for those of you who have a side hustle, inshallah. And we're going to start with number one. Firstly, are you ready? Inshallah, ready to, now we're going to dig into the learning. I hope you have pen and paper. We're going to get cracking. The first thing that I would advise you to do and encourage you to do if you do have a side hustle is validation and positioning. If you're generating less than 5,000, either you're charging very little or maybe you've started recently. So this is very, very, very important for you, validation and positioning. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is, do people actually want what you are selling? So tell me in the chat, what is it that you are selling and why is it something that people want? Because if the answer to this question is not a positive one, you're just wasting your time. In my example, in my property business, we manage properties and we rent out rooms to corporate professionals. I know there's a demand for that, and I can see that demand in the market, in their websites, in the listings, in the amount of people that call us when a room is available in the market. I can see all of that. I can say with confidence that there is demand. And it's because of that demand that we were able to continue the business and slowly grow it over time. So if you struggle to answer this question, then maybe the side hustle that you're working on is not such a great idea. Okay, so we have to be honest. I wasted a lot of time working on business ideas that nobody wanted. And then I also experienced what it's like to have a product and a service that a lot of people want. It's an incredible feeling, alhamdulillah. So that's the first question. The second question is, what problem are you solving? Your product and your service. What is the problem that you're solving? So for example, if I had an accountancy business, I'm solving the problem that businesses have, which is they must submit sets of accounts every single year. That's a must. And the other problem that I'm solving is giving them clarity on the financials of their company to help them make better decisions. And these are real problems, which is why accounting services is a great business. And I'm going to talk more about that a little bit later, because it's also very, very, very competitive and very, very saturated as well. Okay, wonderful. So if you can answer this clearly, then we have some validation. The other question you should ask yourself, the problem that you've identified, is it worth paying for it? Is it worth paying for? Is the problem big enough for you or for someone to give you money? When someone comes to me and says, you know, I'm a web designer and I can make your website look better, I'm not willing to pay for that because I can get that done with AI now. I can get 1,000 websites done in one day with AI. So I'm not willing to pay for that problem to be solved because there's a better solution already, cheaper, better, faster solution already. So this is another question for you to ask, inshallah, to validate whether or not the business that you're working on is worth your time. Ultimately, this is the best test for validating any business idea. Can you make a list of 100 people who need your product or your service? And if you can't, then guess what? You will struggle growing that business. Now, you may not have 100 people in, let's say I have an accounting business, for example. I may not know 100 people who need my services, but I can find them. I can just go on LinkedIn and make a list of business owners who will need some kind of accounting, right? So I can get a list ready pretty quickly, which validates my proposition. Now, if, for example, I'm making key rings, like some kind of special key rings or like something silly like this, something like this. Can I make a list of 100 people who want this or need this? Probably not. So maybe that's not a good product idea. And I should not waste my time pursuing it. So anybody who comes with a business idea to me, I give them this task. Go and make a list of 100 people who want your product or need your product, and then come back. Because if you can't do it, then you will also struggle to get clients. That's simple. Let me now give you the example of one of our clients. So when I say clients, I do business coaching and business mentoring. So there's a business owner from Coventry in the UK. She works full time as a finance manager, and she started providing accounting services on the side. And she was doing this. She was giving accounting services to local restaurants and taxi drivers, and she was only charging them 180 to 200 pounds a month. So when we sat down to do a deep dive in her business and see how we can grow it, I realized that this is not going to have the potential to hit the 20,000 pounds a month goal that she had. It is just not happening. It's too basic. There's too much competition. You need to serve too many small clients. So what we did is we changed the positioning. Let me say that again. We changed the positioning of her service. Because she is a full-time finance manager, I was like, why are you providing basic accounting to small restaurants and taxi drivers? You need to be providing finance manager level services to bigger clients. And we repositioned herself. And within 2 weeks, mashallah, we completely repositioned her. So now she's no longer a bog standard accounting like many hundreds and thousands of other people. Now she is a specialist who works with businesses doing 1 to 20 million turnover a year, and she does a complete done for you service, and she manages the entire finance function, without the cost of a full-time CFO. The problem she's solving is that a lot of growing businesses need a finance team, but they can't afford a finance team. So here's the perfect solution. You don't need a CFO. You don't need an entire finance team. Work with us. And for a fraction of the cost of a finance team, we can take care of everything and remove the entire headache from your shoulders. And mashallah, within 2 weeks of this pivot, we started seeing results. If you want to see my deep dive with her, it's actually on my YouTube channel. You can it's not showing, but it's on my YouTube channel. You'll be able to see an 18-minute video or 16-minute video where I do this entire strategy session with her. But obviously, we then also helped her implement it. And now her positioning is different. She's now charging 3,000 to 5,000 pounds a month to 7 and 8 figure Muslim businesses. And alhamdulillah, within 4 weeks of pivoting the business and repositioning herself, she got her first big client at 3,250 pounds a month. Allahumma barik. And she's now speaking to the next two. This is a far better way to get to her goal of 20,000 pounds a month. MashaAllah, tabarakallah, Allahumma barik. What's your biggest takeaway from this story? I want to make sure that you are able to take points that you can reflect on and implement on. This is a beautiful example of repositioning and finding better clients and solving bigger problems. She's now, instead of serving 20 clients at 200 pounds a month, she's now serving one. Alhamdulillah. So now I want you to have a think about, can your business be repositioned to serve better clients and to serve better quality clients that have a bigger problem who are willing to pay more? That's really, really, really important. Right. We're now going to move on to the second key concept that I'd like to teach you today, which is the concept of leverage. This is how you do more with less. And what is leverage? Leverage is simply the use of a resource to achieve a greater outcome with lower input. And the best way to visually explain this is that without the long stick and the fulcrum and the lever, a human cannot move a rock of that size. But the minute you have a lever that gives you leverage, you can now move it with ease. So a small input gives a great outcome. And in business, this is the most important, transformational concept. Because in business, you have to master leverage. If you want to earn more and work less, you must become a master of leverage. Now, let me break down what the different types of leverage are. Can somebody give me an example? When I say leverage, what comes to mind? I'm going to give you 10 examples or 10 different types of leverage. But I'd like to know from you, are you familiar with this concept? And can you give me some example of leverage in business? And when I say leverage, I'm not talking about borrowing money and finance. I'm talking about resources. So the first kind, the most popular type of leverage is labor. So instead of me washing the cars at my car wash business, I'm gonna leverage someone else. I'm gonna hire someone, and now they are doing all of the washing, and I do all of the marketing. I now create a time for myself to focus on growing the business and bringing more business. So instead of me doing all of the work, I'm leveraging someone else's labor. Another kind of leverage is capital. That maybe I need to buy some raw materials or products. I don't have the money, no problem. Let me leverage someone else's money, someone else's capital. And alhamdulillah, we did that in our property management business, and it allowed us to do 10 times more deals than if we didn't leverage someone else's capital. The next one is social media. And you being on this session right now is an example of that. I used social media to put out content which many hundreds of thousands of people have seen, and I use social media to invite you onto this session today. I literally just had to press a few buttons, and tens of thousands of people saw. I didn't have to leave my house. I didn't have to meet anyone. I didn't have to speak to anyone. That is a powerful form of leverage. We've also obviously got technology, which I don't need to explain. You guys know exactly what that means. So that's software, systems, automations. Then there's networking. That's a great form of leverage where I may have a problem, and instead of me spending my resources and my time and my energy, I leverage my network to find a solution with one phone call. We've also got brand. So this is something a bit more I would say advanced, where you're able to create value from a brand, which allows you to do more. An example of this would be, I think last month, because of the way I've been leveraging social media and the brand that I've created around my personal brand, certain opportunities have started coming to us, business opportunities, property opportunities, investment opportunities that I usually wouldn't get access to. Normally, I wouldn't have access to this sort of thing, but my brand is now doing a lot of the heavy lifting and bringing opportunities towards us. We've got IP, intellectual property. Partnerships is a great one. Really, really good leverage that doesn't often cost anything. And alhamdulillah, I've leveraged partnerships and it's helped us generate millions of extra revenue, alhamdulillah, through partnerships in pretty much every business that I've done. Whether it's a partnership with another business owner or someone else to be a partner in the business, or a partnership with another business, or a partnership with an organization, or a partnership with a particular influencer. Partnerships are very, very, very powerful. Market is another one, and we also have knowledge. Today, I don't have the time to go through all of these, but I can touch upon 3 of them, inshallah, to help you. And we're also going to apply some of these to one of your businesses, inshallah. I want to do a live demonstration. Okay, so get ready to volunteer yourself if you would like me to show you how to deploy leverage and implement leverage in your business to get more with less. Right, here's an example of someone in our inner circle. She's a sister from Manchester. She sells, she has an e-commerce store. She sells prayer mats and Zamzam containers and really niche things, mashallah. And she was stuck on 3,000 a month for a long time. She has a full-time job as a pharmacist, and she was doing this e-commerce thing on the side. And when we had our strategy call about just before Ramadan this year, the main advice I gave her was to use one specific type of leverage, and that was partnerships. I told her that Ramadan is coming. I want you to send a free sample of your product to 50 influencers and leverage them to get your products out there at a time of year which is high season for your business. And subhanallah, that one type of leverage took her from 3,000 to 34, to 26 plus 4 offline, 30,000 pounds in sales in 1 month. And her products, because she leveraged partnerships with lots of influencers simply by sending them a prayer mat. It only cost her maybe £12 to send the prayer mat to an influencer. But then those influencers made videos and she got hundreds of thousands of views on her product. And she obviously got crazy sales, like 200% more than usual. Allahumma barik. So this is the power of using leverage in your business. Another thing that I suggested that she should do, obviously social media is one of those. I also mentioned to her that she should leverage labor, meaning she shouldn't be spending her time packing all of the orders that are coming through the website. She should be paying someone else, leveraging someone else to get all of that done comfortably so she can focus on more important stuff. So this is a real life example of how one type of leverage can literally 10x revenue. So let's do a live example now. Who would like me to figure out how to apply at least 3 types of leverage to their business right here, right now, inshallah. So we have Silaisha, wonderful, wonderful. I think I recognize the name. So because you went first, we will, do you mind unmuting yourself for a second so you can tell me what your business is and I'll figure out how to apply some leverage, inshallah. Just a quick pause. If you're serious about getting your side hustle to $10,000 a month and beyond, check out the link in the description. That's where you can apply to work with me directly and fast track your journey so you can, inshallah, achieve time and financial freedom. Now, let's get back to the training.
Lovely to speak to you. Yeah, definitely. Jazakallah, first of all, for all the knowledge. I have learned a lot about leverage. Just a little bit about myself. So I have, in the past 4 months, started a small cleaning agency. And what I do is I use localized Google Ads to run ads around London, Oxford, Cambridge, a little bit outside of London as well. And I get calls and I pay per call. And I don't have to pay for every single call, so only for the ones that return with a booking. I pay like £10, for example.
Okay.
So Alhamdulillah, the greatest thing is that I get many calls, like 8 to 10 calls a day.
Wow.
I get like end of tenancy cleans, standard cleans, and I can make up to like £100 per call in profit after paying my cleaner as well. I'm having a big issue. It is very difficult to find reliable cleaners who will
Yes.
not just turn up, but they will stay with your business, or like they stay loyal to your agency.
Mm.
Right now, I've only got about 4 cleaners, and with the amount of calls that I get, I've had to stop my ads. What's what it means is that I have the demand, but I don't have the supply. Like many times, I have had cleaners that I book in, and on the same day they will block me because they've decided that single day that they don't want to come to that clean, and it means that I can get negative reviews, and that will slow down my calls as well. And that's something that I really actively want to prevent as a new business. So that is one of my issues. And the second issue is that this is very time consuming. So my calls start at like 9 a.m. up to 9 p.m. And keeping up with all of that, making sure that they pay me on time, and me being a very new business and not really seeing the revenues enough to yet pay for a virtual assistant, it means that I'm doing it all myself. So yeah, it's the supply and demand that's an issue, and also how time consuming it all is for the profits that I'm making.
Perfect. So I love the fact that you've actually given me a business problem to work with, and I'm going to try and solve it with leverage. So
Okay.
the issue here, firstly, you're doing amazing by already you're leveraging the ads. You are leveraging the fact that you only pay for the leads that come through and the calls. You probably have some kind of automation where these calls come in. We can probably do a little bit more with the automation side to remove your involvement as much as possible. Like nowadays, you can literally get an AI to do the entire conversation with clients, get the details, get the address, get everything. It can also be done via chatbots. So there is scope to automate a lot more, leverage technology a little bit more to minimize your time. The next thing that comes to mind is that you probably need to get someone on your payroll, meaning you probably need to hire so actually I've got two ideas. One idea would be to hire a full-time cleaner or a part-time cleaner that does certain days for you. The ideal situation would be to have a full-time cleaner. And I know that's probably not affordable right now, but the way you solve that problem is by leveraging capital. So if you were able to leverage capital, meaning get enough salary for 3 months worth of get enough money for 3 to 6 months worth of salary for a full-time cleaner who's loyal, dependable, and ready to roll, and able to travel to different places, you can probably load them up with enough cleans to be able to cover that salary within 3 to 6 months.
That would make sense. And how about the travel costs? Because they would have to go in a vehicle and bring their own equipment as well. And thinking about my margins, which is obviously like if I book an end of tenancy, I can maybe make 40% out of the total cost, which can be up to £300.
Yeah.
Usually £200 to £300.
Yeah.
And obviously, the issue that I find is if a cleaner's in London and I'm taking them down to Portsmouth, taking them up to Oxford, Cambridge, they'll say to
Oh,
me,
no, yeah, you would have to localize even more.
yeah,
You have to localize even more and spend more in the London areas. Now, the other idea also involves leverage, which is leveraging partnerships, meaning there's a lot of cleaning companies in London. And I know because we've been dealing with cleaning, we've got 400 properties, so you can imagine how much cleaning we got to do.
yeah.
So there's a lot of companies in London who wouldn't mind you calling them up and say, hey, listen, I've got a client tomorrow at 7 o'clock.
Mhm.
Do you have anyone who would take it? You can make a small cut. And essentially, you're leveraging their staff, you're leveraging their labor,
Mhm.
and making your margin for doing nothing. Essentially, you just pass it on,
Okay.
or you hire them. Say, look, I want to hire one of your cleaners for 3 hours. How much will it cost?
Okay. I was thinking about that today, but I was unsure that if what if other companies, the doubt I had is that what if other agencies are very premium, but when I spoke to just one of them, I think they were much below my price point. Like I realized that I'm actually quite premium in the market.
You're
People are still
premium,
going
yeah.
for me.
So you can definitely you definitely have enough margin in there to do a little bit of we call it white labeling, meaning you just grab someone else's product and you put your own label on it.
Yeah.
People do that with software, people do that with all sorts of stuff. So that's my live demonstration of how to implement leverage. So you don't even need to think about hiring someone full time. If you've got 5 companies who are happy to collaborate with you, anytime you're a little bit stuck, you can just call them one at a time. And out of the 5, I'm sure there'll be someone who's willing to take the job.
That's amazing. And I
Got it.
really had a tiny question, not to cut into your time. Do you have any advice on me getting more commercial leads? Because those are not the kind of leads that call you. You sort of have to reach out to them, and
Yeah.
maybe the best ways for me to do that.
I have a friend who actually started a cleaning company, and he started cleaning our properties. Now he cleans the local sports center. He cleans a bunch of offices. There's a paddle center, paddle. You're from Redbridge as well, right?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
So there's the paddle courts in Ilford, Beckton. You just go and speak to them. You just go and speak to them. Most of these companies probably are having trouble with cleaners.
Ah,
So
right.
they're probably having trouble with reliable, competent cleaners and cleaning services. So you just have to go and speak to them, and that's how he's done it actually.
Going in person and have
Yeah,
making those connections.
absolutely, and it's worth it because it's like a ongoing contract. But I must move on. It's been an absolute
Barakallah, no, I
pleasure.
really
I hope that
appreciate it.
was
Thank you so
helpful.
much.
Has this been helpful for everybody else to also see how you can use leverage to not just solve problems in your business, but actually get more stuff done with less effort? Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Literally, leverage is, if you can master this thing, you can be very, very, very successful in business, bi'idhnillah. All right. Let's now move on to an action point for you guys, because I don't just want you to be listening and absorbing. I actually want you to take something and implement it straight away into your business. So which type of leverage do you want to use in the next 6 months? I'm going to bring up the whole list. Which one of these do you want to start focusing on over the next 6 months? Now, let me give you an example. For our property business, I use labor leverage because we built a team. We use capital because we use investor money to do our new projects. We use social media because obviously I have a social media presence and a personal brand. We do a lot of partnerships. And over the years, we've managed to leverage our brand really, really, really well. And that would basically be it. We've done in one business, we are leveraging 4 or 5 different types of leverage. Right. So we now have immediate action for immediate impact on your business, bi'idhnillah. Just implementing one leverage properly could be enough to double or triple your business in the next 12 months. I'll say that again. Just leveraging one leverage properly could be enough to double or triple your revenue in the next 12 months. And this is an example of a business in Singapore. They were already doing $2 million a year, very established business. And despite the fact that they're doing so well already, when we had our strategy call, I was able to show them how to double that revenue using 3 different types of leverage, alhamdulillah. Now we're going to move on to the third key concept, which is around mastering your time. When you have a full-time job and you're trying to grow a business on the side, the biggest constraint is going to be your time. And many of you also have family, children, elderly parents, and other responsibilities. And time is going to be the thing that either makes or breaks your business, how you manage your time. And like I mentioned, alhamdulillah, I've been working 3.5 days, maximum 4 days a week since my son was 1 year old. So that's 4 years now, 4 years. And that's only possible because I invested a lot in high performance and productivity coaching to really master how do we get more done in as little time as possible. Alhamdulillah. And a lot of those teachings are actually directly from our Islamic tradition. But I'm not going to cover all of that because I can speak to you about these things for at least 3 days straight. Today we have another maybe 20 or so minutes, inshallah. So I'm going to touch upon the most fundamental thing that you can implement straight away. So a powerful question that you must ask yourself now and hopefully every week and every month. What are the 20% of the tasks that you're doing in your business that are bringing you 80% of the results or revenue? Very powerful question. So in our property management business, the 20% that gives us most of the revenue was developing relationships with landlords and agents. So we try to cut out as much as we could so we can do as much of that as possible. In my coaching business, for example, the 20%, and this is me really thinking now, what is the 20% that gives me the most outcome? I think is content creation, creating very targeted content that goes viral, that puts me in front of a lot of people, positions me as an expert, and that brings in loads and loads and loads of leads. I think that's the 20% in my coaching business. So we have emails, networking, people management, marketing. Yes, for many of you, marketing is going to be the most valuable thing. And entrepreneurs should delegate and replace themselves at every level. The last thing to delegate and give out is marketing and sales. This is what I've learned from my mentors. So we got networking, posting, managing high-paying clients. Yes, client management is really important. Finding more properties. Yes, amazing. So for as long as you are clear on what that 20% is, we can have a huge impact on your business today, inshallah. We just need to know what this 20% is. Why? Because everything else, you either delete, defer, or delegate. You either stop doing it if you can. If not, you give it to someone else to do. And if not, you delay it to later. Your time, which is very, very minimal, a couple of hours in the evenings and a couple of hours in the weekend, must go on the most important high value tasks. Full stop. So tell me right now, inshallah, what is something that you can stop doing because it doesn't really bring much of an outcome, and then you would rather spend that time in the high value stuff like marketing, dealing with clients, managing people, creating content, and all that sort of stuff. What is something that you can stop doing? Delete. For me, what I had to delete in recent times is sad, but I had to, is responding to messages and DMs on social media, because I'd get 10 to 50 every single day. and I just can't. There's no point in me responding. So what I did, I actually delegated that job to someone else. I have a VA looking at that every single message that comes in, and she deletes most of them and only the important ones she will respond to. And if she can't, she then brings it to my attention. Because those are things that don't push my business forward. Because most of those things are people either asking something from me or asking for advice or trying to pitch themselves. It doesn't benefit me in any way, unfortunately. So I need to protect my time to do the things that push my businesses forward. So in terms of what you need to stop doing, we've got booking calls myself. Yes, something low value like that needs to be given to someone else. And we live in a world where you can find very talented, competent people all over the globe for very affordable prices. Now, let me ask you a simple question. If you focused on the top 20% of the most valuable tasks for your business, if you just focused on that for the next 6 weeks, what would happen in your business? Sinai is saying 10x revenue. Amazing. Alhamdulillah. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. And this is why it's actually that simple. Alhamdulillah, you may have seen some of my post about my clients. We do 5x, 3x, 10x in 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. It's actually not that difficult. Once you have a good product and you know how to use leverage properly, it's actually not that difficult to crazily scale a business. So mashallah, if you guys just focus on the top 20%, your business, I'm not going to say it's going to explode, but it's significantly going to do better. And I wouldn't be surprised if you double or triple your revenue in that time. Wonderful. So if you were to delete, defer, and delegate things carefully and accurately, how much time would that save you? If you got rid of everything that's not 20%, how many hours per week would that save you? You're not doing any of the admin stuff. You're not doing any of the low value stuff. You're not doing any of the cleaning, any of the arranging, any of the bookkeeping, any of the responding to messages. And you are just focusing on the top 20% most valuable things in your business. 25 hours a week, it can save some of you, subhanAllah. You could start a whole other business in that time. 25, 20, 20, 10, more than 30 hours. Allahu Akbar. How are you doing this, subhanAllah? And I should have charged for this webinar. Alhamdulillah, look how much time you can breathe. You can buy back so much time, and allocate it. Save yourself time and actually allocate it to what moves your business forward. Alhamdulillah. Now, here's something else I want you to take away. Now, I'm not going to be giving you $250, but I want you to, from today, from right now, from this evening, to convince your brain that your 1 hour is worth $250. Because once you start believing that, trust me, you're not doing low value tasks anymore. This is literally my biggest advice to most entrepreneurs, especially those starting out. Value your time properly. And let's use the example of Sister Silai, right? She could invest 1 hour to go to the local sports center, to the local mall, shopping mall, school, office block. And she could invest that 1 hour and come out with a new contract for her business, a £5,000 a year contract, weekly clean for the whole floor or the whole complex or whatever. So that means that your time as a business owner is incredibly valuable. The opportunity cost of 1 hour is huge. So if your time is worth $250, which I think is low, because in that hour, you guys can potentially make a lot more by doing the right things. If you're now spending your time doing a task that someone else can do for $8, you have just lost more than $200. You are bleeding money. So anything that is below this hourly rate, you should become allergic to it. You are not allowed to touch it. And for some of you, you're probably thinking, oh my God, how am I gonna not do the 80%? Who's gonna do it? I'm gonna have to hire someone, I'm gonna have to spend money. The answer is yes, you're gonna have to do all of that if you want to push your business forward aggressively. and do a 3x and 4x and 5x growth this year? You must think like an entrepreneur. Because I would rather, so this is how the billionaires think. They would rather make $1 from someone else's hard work than make $1,000 from their own hard work. Can you tell me why that makes sense? Why does that make sense? And why does that mindset allow you to become wealthy? Because when you are making money from other people's effort and zero time from you, that is infinitely scalable. I would rather make $1 from 1,000 cleaners that I don't have to manage and I don't have to interact with than to run an entire business myself where I am making $1,000, but I'm having to put all of my time in. Because time is the most valuable thing. So that's the mindset shift you need to have. That time is way more valuable. I would rather, instead of spending 2 hours a day speaking to clients and leads, I would rather let someone else do that. And I go and speak to the big fish and secure a 100K contract instead of £100 end of tenancy clean, for example. That's the difference between the entrepreneurs that stay small as a one-man band and those who build systems, teams, scale, and then exit for millions. Here's an example of someone, mashallah, who was one of the very early members of my coaching community. She is a trauma coach from America. And literally the main thing I did with her to help her go from a few hundred to 5K, then to 5K to 10K, then to 10K to 15. And now she's actually on 30K months regularly. I know because I'm in touch with her and I'm now actually helping her to go to 60K a month. The main thing I did with her was to optimize the 80-20. She was spending a lot of her precious time doing things that could be automated, that could be delegated, that could be outsourced. So I essentially forced her to only do the 20%, the top 20%. And the minute she did that, the business started growing and growing and growing and growing, alhamdulillah. Because that 20% that she was doing was bringing more leads, more clients, more revenue. While the machine was looking after the clients, she was able to do the things. And in her case, it was a YouTube channel, making more YouTube videos and focusing less on the coaching, answering questions and messages and all that sort of stuff in her coaching community. And also she was repeating the content every 2 months. She was repeating the same content over and over and over and over. So I said, we're gonna now, anything that you repeat in different cohorts, we're gonna make a video, a series of videos. So you never have to repeat yourself again. Your only job is to come and provide the coaching, answer the questions. You shouldn't be repeating yourself the theory over and over and over and over. Does that make sense? So alhamdulillah, this is literally, and mashallah, she's left her job. She left a 6-figure job as a physician associate in Pennsylvania. And she's now, alhamdulillah, from home, doing what she loves doing, averaging comfortable 30K months.
So alhamdulillah, I went
Let me see if you can hear this.
earning $1,000 a month to close to 8,000.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah, Mabarak. I'm so happy to hear that, bro. That's a 10x. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
And this is per month, so this is happening relatively regularly, yeah?
Yeah, so this month was my highest earning month. Last month I made about 6,000. The month previously I had 5,000.
MashaAllah, he's growing all the time. So that was just a quick snippet of, and someone else, alhamdulillah, part of my coaching community where I'm guiding these entrepreneurs. He's also got a full-time job as a project manager. He's got this side hustle where he teaches project managers how to pass their qualifications in less time. And alhamdulillah, again, here I did 2 things. One thing was removing him from all of the things that he shouldn't be doing and that he wasn't good at, for example, sales calls, and leveraging my network to find someone that he can leverage to do all of the sales calls. So there was multiple ways of leveraging, but that 2 moves that we did took him from 1,000 a month to 8,000 a month. And mashallah, he's doing 20K months now. Allahumma barik. All right, perfect. So far, how are you finding it? Give me a score out of 10. The content, pace, delivery, just so I can gauge, because I can't really see you guys right now. Usually I like teaching in a room where I can get feedback and see if I'm boring you, see if I am saying things that are not resonating with you. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. I'm so glad. And that was my intention, to try and give you as much value as I can in that 60, 90 minutes that we have together. Wonderful. And this, by the way, is a Muslim business secret, that the more you help your fellow brother and sister, the more Allah helps you. And that's been my secret over the last 4 years. I've always made sure that I am helping others come up, and then Allah pushes me up. So may Allah give us all the ability to pull others along with us, inshallah. So not only can you start using the 80-20 principle, but I also want you to start creating more time in your day. This is a very powerful exercise where we're actually going to create more time. So now I've already showed you how to optimize the way you allocate your time, but I'm going to show you how to actually create more time, which, by the way, is very, very, very simple, but you sometimes need someone to push you to do it. How can you minimize your time wastage? What I mean by that, what are the things that are eating up your time which don't benefit you? And I'm going to give you some personal examples that I've tried to cut out over time. Playing video games, I don't do that anymore. Scrolling TikTok, I minimize that. I have apps that block my social media at a specific time in the evening, because once you start, an hour can go by, 2 hours can go by. It's crazy. Netflix eats up a lot of my time, but I allow it because it's my way to wind down, but I minimize it. Another thing that used to waste a lot of my time was just meeting up with friends. And I know it sounds sad, but the mission that I'm on is more important than sitting. And I would rather use that time for something productive. So that's something that I've cut out. There's other things in terms of I don't spend any time now reading messages, emails, all of this stuff. I've outsourced a lot of it. So when you put all of these things together, I've now created an extra, let's say 9 to 11 hours a week, extra valuable time that I can use to push my business to the next level, to push my vision and mission to the next level. So most of us, the biggest time wastage is probably social media. So just a simple question. How many hours would you estimate are you spending on social media a week? And let's be honest, I'm not going to judge anyone. And obviously these apps are designed to suck you in and to keep you there. And don't get me wrong, there is valuable things. I learn a lot of business content from social media, YouTube, and things like that. So now imagine if you were able to minimize just the social media usage itself. And one of the best things that I can, if you notice yourself and you analyze, when do I tend to use it the most? For me, it was in the evenings. In the daytime, I'm too busy. In the evenings, there's that risk of starting to scroll. So what I've done is I have an app that literally blocks the social media after 9 p.m. And that's now giving me back so much time and so much mental space as well. So this is one example of how you can buy back more time and minimize wastage. Another thing you could do, here's the example, is actually, can you tell me what time you sleep? Again, no judgment. 12, 10, 11. It's obviously going to be after 10 for most of us because, sorry, in the UK, the Isha prayer is very late now. Most people are around 11, midnight. So if you slept just 1 hour earlier and woke up an hour earlier every day, that gives you an extra 7 hours a week of hyper productive time, 20 hours a month of hyper productive time. That is barakah in the early morning. That is another massive secret. You can create more time in your life. I think I did the calculation. I think it adds an extra month of productivity every year, just waking up an hour earlier. So if you're waking up, let's say at 7 a.m., so for example, in the UK now, Fajr is really early, 4:30 a.m. So most people pray Fajr and go back to sleep. And let's say instead of waking up at 8 a.m., you're getting up at 7 and getting some work done. And you can do so because you're sleeping an hour earlier. That can create more time, an extra month of productivity every year. Imagine what you could do with that. And I'll share a special secret. I wasn't planning on sharing this, but I've always had this problem of sleeping late and struggling to wake up early. So the best way to solve that issue, well, firstly, does anyone else have that problem? Let me know in the chat that you struggle to get yourself in bed on time. For some reason, when it's nighttime, everything becomes interesting and everything. I get so many ideas and all right. So I'll give you the best solution. And the solution is you give yourself a reasonable bedtime, let's say 11:30. And for 7 days, you must sleep, be ready to sleep, be in bed at 11:30, or you have to fast the next day. Trust me, at 11:20, I am scrambling to get into bed. I don't care what's on TV. I don't care what's happening anywhere. I'm getting to bed. Before, I used to pay a fine, a £30 fine to charity, but then it didn't work because I'm like, you know what? This Netflix movie is really good. I'll pay the £30. It's fine. This episode is really, really good. Let me just pay the fine. It's going to charity anyway, right? So now I had to crank up the stakes, higher stakes, more commitment. If you miss the bedtime, you got to fast the next day. Trust me, this is a game changer. And I need to start doing this again soon because I've gotten into some bad habits. Now that Fajr is really, really early, I sometimes end up waiting for Fajr to come in. Anyways, okay. So I want you to make some notes. We spoke about validation. What's your biggest takeaway there? We spoke about leverage. What's your biggest takeaway and action point there? We spoke about 80-20. What's your biggest takeaway and action point? And we also spoke about cutting waste. I'd like you to make some concrete notes that you can take and implement straight away, inshallah. So here is just a quick reminder of the advantage method that I've devised to help Muslim entrepreneurs grow their businesses while working less. This is basically a compilation of everything that I've learned and implemented. And it looks like a simple pyramid, but it's actually got a lot. So just this is a breakdown of each level: the thinking level, constraints, time management, sales and marketing, and barakah growth strategies. This, what you can see here, to properly implement it can take 6 to 12 months. There's a lot of stuff here, and I've just given you maybe 5% in this live call. So I just want you to appreciate that there is a lot more for you to benefit from and to work on and to implement and to understand, inshallah. Now, can you see your side hustle getting to 10K a month once you've started implementing what we discussed today? And let's say between now and the next 12 months, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala.